What is that? What was that?
That was me.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh, stand by.
Why is everybody looking so tired?
Gee, I wonder why. It's so early.
January blues. Dry January. No drink, no booze, no nothing.
Well, what's Variety D's excuse then? It's like 3 p.m. there.
No, it's 4:08 now. It's getting dark. Okay.
I think that's her way of telling you slept in for an hour.
Anybody else want to do any jokes about that before we get going? Anybody else got anything they want to run their mouth about before we get going? Anybody else want to throw that out there? Anybody else? No? Just me? Okay. You guys are all assholes. I don't know why I do this.
That's why we're all friends.
I don't know why I do this. Oh, I just shit my pants. All right. Oh, I felt good. It's a little squirty, a little squishy, but it is what it is. All right. We're going live. Oh, God. Let another one out. Let's go.
My goodness.
Yo. How's everybody doing this morning? Yay. God damn it. It's Duante, a.k.a. Suitman, a.k.a. I don't even know if we're going live yet. Oh, it says so. I'll believe it. Never mind. This is Duante, your favorite host with the most. How y'all doing? I know y'all haven't seen us for a while. We've been MIA, missing in action, but we're back. We've got something to tell you. We've got a story to tell, and we just want to kind of talk to you and give you a heads up today about what we've done before and what we're doing in the future, right? So give it up for everybody here today. Sorry, I'm out of it. I'm barely awake. Give it up for our other three. You other motherfuckers gonna make some noise. They just on mute today.
Okay.
Best part is I have to edit out all these cuss words for the radio. That's been a blast. But we're gonna Dating with Disabilities 17. We're gonna do a recap today. First off, though, we gotta tell everybody who's on the podcast, right? Who's here? What are we doing and why are we here, right? So first off, let's introduce our guest. He's the newest panelist, but he's got a lot to give. Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
I've been doing comedy here in Seattle for a year or two. I've got ADHD. This podcast really helped me prepping for it for the first time. I took a look at what I had. The ADHD that I have is pretty rampant. I has since kind of taken my comedy and kind of used this topic to do some advocacy on the issue. So thank you guys for kind of opening my eyes up to it.
Oh, and what got you on the podcast? You said you're ADHD.
ADHD, anxiety. I've also got like mild cerebral palsy. My ex-wife used to get mad at me because I couldn't fix anything. And she just thought I was lazy, which I am. But I can't work a screwdriver. I can't really do any kind of manual task. It's a mild cerebral palsy, things you can't see. So I just look like I whine most of the time. Throw rejection sensitivity with the ADHD, and then I'm just a mess because I can't really please anybody.
Oh, man. That's most men out there. Don't feel bad. I mean, right? Shit. I don't know who told you you're going to satisfy a woman, right? Like, Jesus.
No way can I satisfy a woman.
I don't know. I don't think you're the only one. Don't feel bad, right? Next up, we'll talk about her. She even got a friend with him. Janejira Damron. Tell us who you are.
For our audio only listeners, we got BDSM Bear in the house. He's been somehow he became our mascot over the years. Yeah, he's vibing. I am Janejira, but I also go by Herschel. I'm a gender fluid LGBTQ plus author, manga artist, and I own a small business called Peachful Creations. I make cute little stickers and prints.
All right. And how did you get on Dating with Disabilities? I mean, you didn't just show up one morning and start doing this podcast, did you?
I mean, I kind of did. Well, Dating with Disabilities is a branch of autistic artists because what happened was we were like, hey, what if we talked about dating and then made it a little spicy? And we can't have that on autistic artists because that's a little too spicy. So we're like, all right, new podcast idea, everybody, let's do this. So we got a new poster, new logo, new brand, a new mascot, and then we were like, all right, let's go. Same crew, different topic.
Yeah, well, not same crew, but same base crew. We'll get there in a minute. And then, last but definitely not least, the biggest mouth on the show, also our only person from UK, Variety D. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Hey, it's Girl Variety D here. Yep, I've been part of DWD. It sounds like drugs. For a very long time now, and there were some other British representations, in the building, but they done their own things, and then I'm the last black one standing, or should I say sitting on this podcast. So and I love it. I love it. Yeah. So and also breaking news, I'm also the pioneer in the United Kingdom as the first Black British disabled comic since 1965. God rest his soul, Sir Charlie Williams, a lovely man. My disability is neurological disorder, slight tics, and slight depression, makes a great comedian, hence the variety. So yeah, that's me.
Are we sure you're a great comedian?
Excuse me. Hey, you want to fight, innit? You want to fight? Suitman keeps showing off, man, because they're all these goodies. Nah, this is not fair.
It's also like how she said she was the only black panelist, and I'm like, really? You're the only British panelist now. You're not the only black
I'm only
panelist.
Black British.
There we go. Black British, whatever.
Right, there we go. BBs.
I'm black.
African Americans, AAs, BBs. Okay. Right,
I'm not an AA either. I'm a
What are you?
AARP?
Oh, you son of a bitch! You just said AARRP. Why do you need friends when you got? You don't need enemies when you got friends like these guys, right? And most of you guys should know who I am, but if you haven't heard of me, you haven't seen me. I'm Duante Suitman. I'm the guy behind the magic. I'm kind of like the Wizard of Oz when it comes to things, because sometimes you see me on shows and sometimes you don't. I do all types of content. And Janejira was kind of right. This didn't really happen because of autistic artists, but it was the intersection of working with people with disabilities and talking to my friends overseas and watching this horrible show called Love on the Spectrum. And I think we got to start there because that's why we started the show. Right? There's this horrible show called Love on the Spectrum. And the reason why I say it's horrible is because if you all, what was the show with Corky, The Best of Life or whatever, right?
Life goes on.
Life Goes On, right? If you watch Life Goes On as a kid, your whole idea of handicapped or disabled people may be who Corky was, right? And Corky has Down syndrome. And I think a lot of people, when they hear about Asperger's or autism and they get all freaked out, it's because they think we're going to have Down syndrome. Right? And we don't have Down syndrome, right? And when people tell me things like you don't look like you're autistic, that really makes me think people associate Down syndrome with autism, right? And it's not the same thing. And then not only that, but you can tell when somebody's autistic. You literally can. You can talk to them for 3 or 4 minutes and figure out when people are highly affected by their disability, right? I don't want to say fully functional or low functional or high functional. What I'd rather say is their disability highly affects their daily life, right? And you can notice that with people who like talk weird, they have a tic, they're not making eye contact, They may ramble like me. When I get upset, I get fixated and I tell the same story over and 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 over again. And finally, Jane or somebody will be like, I gotta go do something else. Ooh, there's another call coming in. No, there's not. They just want to get off the fucking phone, right? But you can the way Variety. I wish y'all could see Variety D is laughing her ass off. But the way you handle some of these social interactions, the way you talk to people, the way you maybe even handle your own stress, these are all things that sometimes can give away that you have a disability. Well, everybody we watched on Love on a Spectrum, you can tell they're disabled. You can look at them and be like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with this guy, right? Or like the first season, they had the guy Michael on there, and he's like, I can't wait to have a wife, because when I have a wife, she's gonna love me. And it's like, we've all seen that rambling, that monologuing that we do when we have disabilities. But to have everybody on the show noticeably disabled, I felt like that did an injustice to the rest of us. And so the biggest idea behind Dating with Disabilities was when we first started. And even now, I think you can't look at any one of the four of us and really know that we're disabled. And that was the whole idea of this show. Now, we used to have Benny Shakes on here. I love Benny Shakes because guess what? His name tells you what's wrong with him. Benny Shakes. Benny's got cerebral palsy, right? And then we had Blue Glasses girl Emma. She's going to be on next month or the month after as a guest, so we're bringing her back on. We've changed our format a little bit, but we had Blue Glasses girl on here, and she wears blue glasses like Elton John because she's got Earl-Lin syndrome. See, I even learned some things because of this. I'm even remembering the shit, right? But again, that was something where it was visible. People would, why are you wearing blue glasses? And then she'd have to explain it, right? Well, guess what? My physical disability, and that's what I forgot to say, is not every disability we wanted to talk about. We wanted to be mental. We wanted some of them to be physical. We wanted you to be able to see people who were disabled. We also wanted people to not be able to see who were disabled. And then for me, I have an intersection of disabilities. And what I mean by that is it's just like my race, my racial composition is intersectional because I'm Black, white, and Native. Well, I'm partial hearing. All right. So that means I have a hearing aid, right? That means I'm deaf. But that also means in the dating world, women think I'm choosing when or when not to hear, right? Which is frustrating as hell. Not only is it frustrating to hear something and have somebody, oh, so you heard that, and question the fact that you can hear or not, but then question what you didn't hear earlier. And then I told somebody the other day, is I hate when people do this stuff to me because I read lips and I hear. So sometimes I get an idea what it is and I can kind of figure it out. Other times I can't. So it's not so much that I heard you, it was that I was able to put together what you said and make an educated guess that seemed reasonable. So I just keep going with the conversation instead of me having to ask you every 5 or 10 minutes, huh? What? Could you say that again? So for us, the whole idea of the show was getting to that point where we could talk about some of these things, right? Not only talk about them, but be real. Like, we're all on Tinder, we're all on dating apps, shit. You're even on Facebook dating, running into your best friend's exes, right? That's a dangerous app, let me tell you. But that's a different topic, right? But the whole idea is we wanted to have a show where we talked about things in reality. Talked about, all types of stuff. And so what we're going to do today is, I think first what we'll do is we'll go through and ask people what they thought their favorite episode they've been on was, what their favorite topic was to give you an idea. Then we'll talk about maybe some favorite guests, right? And then we'll look ahead to some of the things we're hoping we can do with this show. Okay. And then I'll start off by saying this is how the show started. The way we're about to do this show is how we started our show originally. We'd have a couple of different topics and we'd talk about them and have a great conversation. And after about 8 or 9 months of that, it was like, okay, we could be goofy and we can get weird and we could talk about our stuff, or we could start expanding and learning about some of the other disabilities and how they affect other people. So now we do more of an interview style where we interview somebody, we find out their disabilities, find out what they're going to, and we find out why they're not dateable, just like the rest of us. You know what I mean? Because we all got our red flags and our drawbacks, right? So first up, Andy's new to this show, and I know this will probably be an easier answer for him, and he already kind of hinted at it. But what was your favorite episode to be on? Andy, was it you as a guest or you as a panelist? What do you feel? Andy, you there?
Hello. Yep, I'm here.
Oh, go ahead.
I've only been on a couple of episodes. I would say probably honestly, the first one, it's different being kind of the person you're talking to. The second, we're doing more political things. What you just hit on there, talking about people not being able to see your disabilities and not active listening and kind of processing what they interpret your message to be, and kind of bearing the brunt of having something like conflict avoidance or rejection sensitivity. This so far, my favorite episode just in those couple of minutes, because I deal with all of that. So,
and why was it more like an identity thing, a talking thing, or because I know for a lot of people sometimes it's great to get the feedback or different point of view, but it sounds like for you, it sounds like it was just more like a fuck somebody else gets it thing. You know what I mean? Like it felt good to finally know other people out there are the same.
Very similar to what I heard you first talk about at Town Pub. Way back in the day, you kind of talked about this message, what I identified with then. But yeah, people who are misunderstood because people judge them based on what they see without listening. There's some acceptance. There's some peace and knowing that other people go through the same deal.
Oh yeah. I knew that's what you were saying, but I didn't want to say it for you. I didn't want to mansplain it. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, this is what he's trying to say. Let me tell you his real feelings. Let me be a little more articulate. Let me do my real job and kind of what's the word? Coagulate it out of coax it out of him, right?
Yeah.
Variety D, what's been your favorite episode?
I have too many. I mean, 3 of them stuck out for me. It was when I'm sorry to forget the guest's name. It was the former soldier. We had the white guy with glasses.
Aaron Focus, that was Aaron Focus, the director out of Seattle, right?
Yeah, director. And he was talking about the whole process of like what happened to him and his survival and how he took things forward. He didn't sit there like a bum and just cry about life. I really love that. And then the comedian who looks like one of my aunties, I've forgotten her name.
Debbie Wooten.
That was a good episode.
I actually saw some throwbacks here on a cable channel here in London. I was like, wait, that's Debbie. Yeah. So yeah, I loved her stuff because she's very saucy. She don't care. She's like the auntie you can go to a barbecue with, and she will feed you not just with food, but with so much food for thought. And yeah, just give you a doggy bag of pure wisdom. And the third one was when I cried. Okay, remember when I had to like leave Zoom for a hot second because you, Suitman, were all speaking the truth. You know, going like, come on now, get yourself together. You're a black woman from south of London. You better not let any bullshit, excuse my language, step in your way. And then yeah, I cried. So yeah.
See, I'm not the only one who cries on our fucking podcast.
Yeah. Listen, I boo yeah.
No. I'm only saying that because I'm editing, and I just heard Dating with Disabilities 7, and you guys were like, "I wonder how long till he's gonna cry." And you guys are all bullies, all 5 of you. He's gonna cry soon. I'm not. I'm gonna cry. Well, I cried, and Andrew cried today. That's 2 for 1. Screw you guys, right?
We cry on the inside.
You guys are jerks. I cry on the inside and the inside. And tell them, what was the message I was telling you? Because I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like, stop hiding, wasn't it?
Yeah, no hiding because of my experience. Like, I began comedy since I was at age 16, so it was 2007, and it's still a taboo in the Black British community, no matter African or Caribbean, where if you're disabled and you're on their platforms, more like, nah, you shouldn't be here. You're sick. You shouldn't be doing jokes. You should be sitting down at home knitting, or do some drawing. So it's like I couldn't tell the promoters about my condition because otherwise they wouldn't book me. So it took a long time. So imagine 15 years in the game now. Now I can actually state it and open the doors for others, for people of color who are disabled and want to get forward in life, you know, such as being a comedian or an actor or anything like that in this country. We still got a long way to go, but you know, at least I was the one that begun. Yeah, and it's
That was
a
all
long
thanks
road.
all thanks to Suitman. I'm gonna mansplain that one. I'm gonna take that one.
You will get your cut, yeah. Okay, you only get 20%. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, shut up.
I'll take pounds. I'll take it all. It don't matter. I love it. It don't have to be American dollars. I'm not greedy.
What in yen? Yeah, we'll give you some yen. Yeah, that's good.
It all spends the same. It all adds up after a while, right? Like, come on.
Yes, you'll get $1 whole.
No, fuck you.
Exactly.
We didn't say the Thai bin. What is it? The bin hot or whatever it is.
It's bot.
The bot. Yeah, the bot ain't worth a damn. It's like 0.0. Never mind. I'm gonna stop because they showed weed prices and they're like $2,800 for an eighth, and I was like, "Well, how much is that?" I got
What?
But it's in bot, so it only was like $56 or something like that. But at first, I was like, "That's a lot of money for some weed. That's a lot." Shit, I'm sorry. That'll make you want to know how to convert some money. Drugs, right? How much are drugs in your kid?
Drugs. They make you good at math.
They make you good.
What was it?
Actually,
Meth? No.
There's a
Meth,
lot of
no.
there's a lot of truth to that. I remember I used to tell my friends, like, you guys are pretty good at math. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, there's 28 grams in an ounce. You know, there's 3.5 grams in an eighth. That's a fraction. You guys do fraction.
That's how they should have taught math.
No, that sounds kind of. Yo, so Tyrone, imagine if you have 7 grams of cocaine and Robert robs you for half your cocaine. How much cocaine do you have left to sell? Is that an 8-ball, a teener, or a whole? Oh, I'm going to hell. That's
Weed is
funny.
on sale for 70% off. How
that's
many
real.
oranges
Oh,
does it
that's
take?
real. That's
It was
real.
gone.
Weed is legal now, and that is real. If you didn't notice, I want to show everybody. I got art. We got art in the house now, right? Oh, wrong side. And then look, shit, wrong finger. I've got my Lego fish tank. You can see it in the background now. The Legos have been so therapeutic for me. I just want to say. Plus, it's great for dating. It's a great thing for women to talk to you about. Just throwing that out there for all you nerds. Get like the Lego aquarium or the Lego flowers. I got the orchid and the side tree. Something chicks talk about. Giving dating advice today. Also, learn how to cook. That was the other one I got. Anyways, last but not least, Janejira, what was your favorite episode?
I did also like Debbie's episode because I was crying for a different reason, because I was laughing so hard because she's so great at what she does. But I also, I tell every single one of my friends who will listen to me about the episode where Benny came prepared. He had a PowerPoint presentation on different types of sex toys for people with different disabilities. I feel bad for our radio listeners because they couldn't physically see how glorious that episode was, and none of us were able to take the time to describe everything because we were all taking in the new sites and the new information.
That was
That
horrible.
was a good episode. Yeah, it was very educational too.
Is that PowerPoint posted anywhere?
I wish it was.
Andy's like, I can go
Just for learning.
Right,
We should put it on the Suitman website just for shits and giggles.
No,
Yes.
we call it for shiggles, right? For shiggles, my niggles, right? I'm gonna trademark that one for shiggles, my niggles. That's why we do shit. For shiggles.
You
For
better do that
shiggles,
because
my
next month Black
niggles.
History Month in America. Yeah, go put on a t-shirt.
Here's my
Correct.
thing though,
Correct,
is for a guy who's never even used sex toys, that one blew my ears off. I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready for that. And then the idea is there's some of them that come with handles and extensions on them. Shut up, Variety D. And it was
You've never used sex toys?
we're not going there, man.
You know, isn't that what
A guy doesn't definitely answer me that question. Like, you almost get muted for that. Like, I don't want no.
Isn't that why we're here?
That's
talk
why I don't.
about-
That's why I don't watch porn either. Because I'm not gonna sit around with
Wow.
another guy and watch porn like that. Don't. No, no. Don't look me in the eyes after you ask me that question,
Hey.
you pervert.
I have no
No.
problem hanging out with a guy.
Yeah, I saw.
No sex
you
shaming
ever
it.
use sex toys, Dante? Want to try?
Wow.
it?
I'm just really open-minded.
I'm not.
Yeah.
There we go. There's your answer. Shit.
Some people are more comfortable than others.
Of
And I
course.
can get more comfortable if we're losing clothes.
Wow.
Took off my glasses. That's not clothes, you pervert. That's not consent. I already heard what you were doing there. He's like, oh, he took his glasses off. Let me take my dick out.
That's just
That's
that's,
not- That's not the translation. Glasses. It's not the same thing, dude. It's not.
where's the sex toy going? Is
He's
how
seen
open-minded I am.
enough.
I can't. Stop it. Stop. Fuck all you guys. To me, my top 3 episodes had to be Debbie Wooten, because I knew it was just going to be a train wreck. She didn't even really do an interview. She just did her comedy for an hour, and I was like, you know what, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because her comedy applies. So I was just like, you know what? I stopped trying to ask questions, and that was the first interview where I was quiet. It was fuck it. I have the stage, Debbie. It's yours. You queen.
Yeah. She is a queen.
Right? You get it.
She's already sitting on a throne.
Right? Never mind. She's got a joke for that too. It's called never mind. It's over there rotisserie. You know what I mean? Getting ready. It's over there just stewing. Anyways. And then another one of my favorite episodes had to have been I hate to say it, but when we did the episode talking about just disclosing our stuff on the apps and how we interact on Tinder with disabilities. And the reason for that is because it's real, right? Like, if I don't tell people I'm Asperger's and I'm kind of weird, and then they treat me horribly, well, part of that's kind of my fault if I come off weird to them and they don't understand, because I didn't give them the basis or baseline to understand that, hey, I might come off a little weird. Feels like my face is swollen. Anyways, I'm looking at him like, why is the one side creasing more than the other? And then, is it? Or is that just the light? I don't know. I'm high. I don't have my glasses on now, so I can't see. I think it's the light and the shadow. And then the other one I really liked is when we talked about the representation of those with disabilities in the pornography industry. And it wasn't so much because, that's something I'm interested in watching. It was just more in the idea that people with disabilities can be sexy, right? Do we forget people with disabilities want to also be considered attractive and wanted and needed, and you know what I mean? So I think sometimes we forget about the fact that we're all human. Even though we're disabled, we're all human. Some of us more than others and some of us less than others, but we are all, yeah, that shadow's messing with me. We are all human, right? And for me, that episode really hit home because, we think about the pornography industry, and yeah, we do have little people, right? Little people pornography, but little people are not disabled, right? That shouldn't be a classified as disabled. That's little people. They're regular people, right? And then it also made me think about things like, and then I think the other episode I liked was when we talked about, and it was episode 7. I just heard it when I said, "Who was your favorite Paralympic team?" And out of left field, Benny said, "The rugby team." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he's the wheelchair rugby team. And I was like, "Oh, snaps." Like, he's legit serious. He was on it. He was like, "You Americans have won 6 medals in a row. No more. No more. We are the champions of wheelchair rugby." And I was just like, really? Are you gangbanging on me on wheelchair rugby right now, Benny? Like, not even in a wheelchair. Like, that's not even a black guy sport. Like, come on. At least gang bang on some wheelchair basketball on me. You know what I mean? Like, be a little racist when you gang bang on me, right? But I don't watch the wheelchair rugby. I would watch the wheelchair basketball, right? But it was hilarious to have him be so serious. And it wasn't hilarious in a bad way. It was hilarious in a good way because it was like, people do care. People do watch these sports. People do enjoy them. So for me, it was awesome. It was a great chance to really see who and what was going on. Right? Who was your favorite guest? Anybody want to go? Well, we already talked about Debbie Wooten. Jesus. Who was your favorite guest, Variety D?
Yeah, like I said, the soldier guy,
Aaron Focus.
is that his name? And Focus.
Yeah.
Wow. I was not focused on his name. But yeah, remember that guy. And there was another guest, we had try to remember the one who he didn't stutter, but he was like a little bit like me and you, Duante.
Oh, Emmanuel Frowner.
Yeah, and he's never dated properly and stuff. He's still looking for love, but I think sometimes they're in the wrong places. And it was kind of like in real time, we were all teaching, giving him antidotes of like some pure wisdom. And the thing is, he took things a bit too serious. I said, no, you got to pull back a little bit. Listen, and then I said, look at my cute cheeks here, and listen, and it was interesting hearing his point of view on his circumstance from when he was a child and growing up, because that was new to me. So I felt that.
I also thought it was weird. He seemed like my twin. Like if I'd have been homeschooled, I could have been Emmanuel.
Yeah, you know when you think to yourself, bruh, so if that was me, you think
I see you in another timeline.
Yeah, that's literally how I felt. It felt like the reverse Flash or
DC.
something. Yeah.
The
one that killed me. I don't know if you remember this, but we gave him a hard time, or I was kind of giving him a hard time about using prostitutes to lose his virginity, right?
That's the one, yes.
He was like, yeah, I use sex workers all the time. And then he was like, yeah, but I don't have 2 babies' moms and 5 kids, do I? And I was like,
But I said to him, I said, why you burning your money like that? You can have some sex for free here in the UK. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, government funded vagina. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that got him.
Or he got
all that money he could have spent. He didn't get me. He can't get none of this. I mean,
Wow.
I'm too tight for one. And also I have a partner. So yeah.
Whoa! What's the tightness got to do with your partner? I'm pretty sure your partner wanted him to say that first, or them.
Really? I think I would have to go to court for that one. But yeah. But yeah, that was an interesting episode. I love that guest. I'm trying to think all the other guests that we've had on DWD.
We've had a few. Luckily I got a cheat sheet.
I was about to say, where are the notes? Where's the cheat sheet at?
I'll put it in the chat for you guys in a minute. Andy, you're new. You've only seen a couple. Who was your favorite guest or person you've seen on here?
I haven't been on with a guest. The prostitutes losing their virginity is a really interesting topic, so I'm gonna have to go back and check that one out. My best friend's got cerebral palsy. Sometimes people with conditions like that feel like that's their only real avenue to go to is to people in the sex industry. And you said you could get sex for free if you've got like rejection sensitivity or things, or if you've been burned PTSD from relationships, then that also sometimes it's sex for free still has a cost associated with it. And so that sounds, what you're talking about is really interesting to me, but I haven't been on a guest. So you've been my favorite guest because the only other show I've been on has been a little cover. So I'm going to say you, Duante.
Oh, why me? Why?
Yeah.
Oh. It's funny because I met Andy in real life. We do comedy in real life at times, and I'm very open book. I'd say kind of to my fault, right? And I've had my beefs, my fallouts, my drama, my people who want to talk about me, and I've never shied from just being like, screw everybody. This is who I am, right?
Yeah,
hear me roar. What'd you say?
Especially recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially recently.
Yeah.
It's recently, I would say even more. I've went out my way to stop bowing down to white people in our industry. And so one of the things that I identified when I started talking to him about my podcast, I think, not saying you're scared of me, but there's always that perception of who is Duante? Who is Suitman? He's a jerk. He's a scary big black guy. Don't go mess with him. And then I told Andy about my podcast, and Andy was like, I think you're my spirit animal. You're a big, loud black guy.
I ran right up to you. I wasn't scared. I ran right up to you. I heard you do a stand-up set at Town Pub, and then I found you. And I think it's great. Like what you've been, anybody speaking their mind, you've got to be your authentic self. So the journey you've been going through recently, I think everybody has to be open and just willing to kind of put it out there on the table. And if they're accepted, they're accepted. So I think you've never scared me. And yeah, spirit animal. That's as like I told you yesterday, I'd do anything for you. Because the more I'm getting to know you, man, I do think we're a lot alike.
Oh, we're not crying. This episode, we're not doing it. He's trying. And it's and I don't mean you're scared of me, but there's the apprehension. I know what's said about me out there. You know what I mean? I know we talked about it, discussed it, but that's the funny part is people see me and they see me in these avenues and see me around, or how I may interact with some people I don't get along with, and they're like, oh my God. And then they hear my message and they're like, oh, damn it, I can't hate this guy.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's the big one is this show has given me a chance to find a reason. Not just like to do the podcast, but sometimes to even just be here. I know Andy knows what I mean by that. And so when you find something where you're actually not just driving content, I love there's a million podcasts out there that you could watch and may not teach you a thing and may not give you any insight into somebody else's life. This is one that'll give you some insight. This is one that'll teach you some things. I know we're doing podcasts where people are actually learning things and we're exploring new topics and we're expanding horizons. And that in itself is kind of where we need to be. That's what we look for in podcasts. And when I was able to do interviews about why I have a podcast or when you should have a podcast, that was the idea. When you have that intersection of things, of something that's not offered and something that should be offered and that nobody are talking about.
Well, and really quickly, I've had other comedians. The work you guys are doing here is being widely seen. I've had comedians from different states with disabilities contact me and say, "Hey, I get on the show?" You're providing an output for people to feel accepted and to feel heard. So I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, and people are responding to it.
You're doing it. You're doing it too, buddy.
Yeah.
Potato Chip, who is your favorite guest?
I really liked the episode with Blue Glasses Girl because that was like really insightful and I got to learn a lot. And it's also very nice to hear the British perspective of how things are.
Fuck's sake.
Yes.
I think of Emma. That's all I hear. For fuck's sake, Dante, you're taking the piss out of me. That's all I remember.
And then for the people that didn't see that episode, she has a very sassy personality, and she's ready.
She's ready. She's bringing it. Bring it, Beezy. Bring it, Brittany. Right? Oh God. Sorry, I'm trying to find this list of our 17 guests. So let me run through them. I think another guest that I know we didn't bring up that I really enjoyed having on here was Sherry Hardman. The reason why I loved it when we had Sherry fill in is because Sherry's a successful comedian, just like Debbie Wooten. And I wouldn't say just like, because you never compare two women. I know how that happens, but I'm smarter than that, right? She's a funny comedian in her own right, and she's found her own trials and tribulations. She's married, she has kids. Even when we talked about maybe her son's dating and stuff like that, and the idea of having a disabled son and what that's like. And so we've had a myriad of guests. I'm looking at them. We haven't had that many. We've had like 7 guests out of our 20 shows because we did the first 8 or 9 with just the panel, right? And so our guests were Focus, Aaron Switzer, Emmanuel Frauner, Debbie Wooten, Sherry Hardman, Andy, Rebecca McDonald, and then we had Sarah Ann, and then we missed the last 3 months, 4 months. We were supposed to have more, but we're back, right? And when I think about all those guests, they all had a different thing to talk about, right? Like even Rebecca was funny in her own right, and we've done so many topics that it's just like now it's time to start focusing on the news stories. I guess that's where I would say is for me, my next direction and my next hope with this podcast is that we're able to get a more diverse, eclectic group. I was kind of jealous and mad. I'm like, who are these comics, Andy? Because I haven't been told about them. Well, let's book them. We need more guests, right?
I'll send them your way.
Right. And then on top of it, it's like there's been people that I've wanted to get on here that are scared. There's this guy named Noah. He's in my phone called Noah Nub because he's got a nub, right? And I wanted to get him on the show. And he's like, I'd love to be on there. He's like, I just can't do it. And I was like, it's not that serious, bro. Like, if I can get you on the phone and get you laughing. And I think that's the hard part is knowing we offer so much and there's so many people to be interviewed and talked about. And so we can understand. It's not like part of me wants to ask Brock to be on here. Brock is a little person who's a comedian, right? But being a little person isn't a disability. But it's a physical disability in a sense because you're smaller. You know what I mean? It could be in a sense that it's a appearance disability because you're different. You're definitely standing out, right? So, with that being said, it's talking to those people. There's another woman I met in California who was in a wheelchair, and had like no legs, right? And it was like, okay, that's definitely a person. There's another lady that had no legs that was part of the cut production, and I emailed her. I was trying to get her on here, and Potato Chip Note remembers that early when I was trying to get her on here and getting to talk about the hard things. Like I think the hard one was when we talked about being alone, right? And that was one of our topics on here. And are we okay with being alone? And do we need to date? And do we even need a date? Like, can we do the Emmanuel? Can we live life, pay for our physical needs and be okay with that? Right? Can we do the, Juliana? Juliana's never, I think she said she's still a virgin, right? If I remember correctly. Can't remember. I know we had one guest who was. I've actually got one guest who I'm trying to get on here who is a virgin, that's openly a virgin. He's 28. We had him scheduled and then he woke up late, but he runs the Christian faith basketball teams out here, and he runs a whole bunch of basketball teams, semi-pro basketball teams. So we're talking adult men, right? So that age where most guys are out there who, if you're playing good basketball, you're trying to get laid and go to the club. He's interacting with those guys and he's not doing any of that. He's going to the game and he's going home. Right. And so to really talk to people about the full spectrum of what it's like and not have this jaded or biased point of view of what we expect, just openly giving them their time and the platform and like if I could be a 40-year-old virgin like AC Green, that kind of be cool right now. To think if I hadn't had kids and I had all my money and I didn't have child support or any of the drama or PTSD or any of that I dealt with, how much less issues would I have had in my life if I hadn't been having sex and having partners and just focused on being me? It's a good question, right? Nobody ever wants to answer that. I don't think any of us honestly want to be like, if I wasn't such a hoe, I'd have a happier life, right? Andy, what do you see yourself? What are your hopes for the show? What do you want to do in the future? What do you hope?
Well, I just sent you a couple of names. And one of them, one of the names that comedians has been talking to me, he's got multiple sclerosis. He does comedy out of Vegas. And not only does he have issues with dating, but also that market, he's getting a lot of discrimination because of his disability in the comedy scene. So he's facing a lot of bullying and things of that nature there. this whole concept of what you just brought up, I would love to explore issues like that more. Is it okay to be alone? Can you be alone? Can you date? It's not whether or not you want to date, but it's can you date? So can you date? Can you trust people again, especially after you've had some PTSD for some breakups, you have conflict avoidance. Can you trust anymore at that point? Or is it just, hey, I'll pay for it and not even care? So I would love to get into a lot more of those things, a lot more of those topics.
And for me, it's not even getting into them. It's finding the right people to talk about them with. Because like, I feel like, and I hope the women will weigh in on this too. There are women out there that are unable to possibly have the sexual relationships they want, because paying for it is not an option for women. It's not like you can just find a gigolo that easily, I don't think, right? And then and then for men, you know what I mean? And I'm not here to say right or wrong or say this is correct in all phases, but there has to be some sort of arousal to have sex, right? So if you're not able to be aroused, what we do there? Now, women similar, right? But you could use lubrication or something like that. There's nothing you could rub on my willy to make it work.
Yeah, let me say, I've never paid for sex. I like religiously, I wouldn't do that. So for me, it's not an option. So I've never done that. And as far as arousal goes in relationships, if you can't trust, you can have issues becoming aroused. And so at that point, you just can't have sex with anybody.
Right.
And women have pain too, right? If they're not.
Well, I'm not. Hey, well, we're not going to speak for them. We got two women here.
I'm asking. Yeah. I'm throwing it to them.
Oh, I'm just talking shit. I'm giving you a hard time, making sure we're not speaking for them. Variety D, Janejira, thoughts?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, though, to the women have pain thing.
Yes, we do have pain down below. Yes, in our cave. Yes. We do have that, just to make that clear. So that's why we have also, female lubrications, sold in the shops for $9.99. So, but no, what I was gonna say was, going back before that, I'm glad that you're planning to actually gain additional guests, because I also wanna try and get you guys additional guests from the UK who are also in the industry. Because like I said before, it's still taboo, but we're trying to break the cycle that as much as we can, and not just Black British ones, but also we've got white ones as well who are doing so good in the game. That even Christmas just gone, we've had a few disabled productions, on our terrestrial televisions, who are now nominated for awards at BAFTA and stuff. So it's really good, but it's mostly as we call CCs. So over there we've got AA, African Americans, BB, Black British, over there cocky Caucasians. So now we need to go and connect together and do something nice, make something happen. So yeah, it's things like that, you see. So even though we're acknowledging disability, yes, it don't have a color, but when you add some color in it, it's a bit spicy to talk about. So we just got to spice things up, man, especially on this podcast, and I can see it happening.
Yes, the more spice, the better.
Well, the British girl would say that. She is a Spice Girls fan, I'm sure. Anyways, next.
I am. Yes, I am sure. Yeah.
And Janejira, what would you like to say? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad. What were you gonna say, midget? I cut her off, and she decided not to say it now, huh? Yeah, whatever. What do you see in the future? What would you like to see in the future, Janejira?
Yes, you. No, stay there. Move on swiftly.
See, it just took time for the technology to catch up.
I think like anything related to sex education, it doesn't exist. What? Your sound cut out.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. But yeah, sex education in America doesn't exist, and I hate everything about it. I also I don't think it's talked about much, but the way we talk about the sexual experience for women and the way we talk about it for men is completely different. And I've also I've been with people where you can tell the whole focus is for them to get off. It's not about the experience with the two people. It's about them. And it's like, you weren't educated about this, like in school, obviously. Because like I've had to explain to some people like what aftercare even is, because they've never heard of it. And it's like, that's so sad. So yeah, it would be nice to see that and talk about stuff like that, I guess. Like that's also why I really liked the episode where we talked about the presentation of like different sex toys and tools and stuff. Because like being accommodating for sex makes a lot of sense, because for some people it is excruciatingly painful, because like there are certain physical conditions that make it more painful than it needs to be, but some people don't even know that exists. So it's very important to talk about that.
I agree. That's the thing. I think we've when we talked about the use of money for paid sex, right, and how that's actually illegal, especially in the UK, right? Because we were talking, we've got a what's his name, Emma and Jamie, not Emma Roberts, but there's another Emma and then Jamie, and Jamie is like huge in the disabled community, right? Everybody knows who Jamie is. He's in a wheelchair. He's got a voice box for him, like the Stephen whatever guy, right? So Hawkins, right? So, and like he heckled me one day in one of our meetings and was just like, "Oh, is the poor American boy crying?" And I was just like, "What the hell?" Like that's when I started really having fun with disabled people, because it's like, if I can't make fun of you guys and joke with you guys, why can I joke with Andy, right? And then that's when I made fun of his wheelchair, and I did a show and I talked crap about him heckling me, and everybody in the room was dying. Now the people without disabilities were like, "Did he just talk about the guy in the wheelchair?" And the guy in the wheelchair was like, "About time, yes." Right, and he was really happy that I finally. Am I lying? Right, he was there, I believe, and Jamie had a blast.
Yep, I was there. Yep.
And everybody.
There's always those people that get offended on behalf of people with disabilities, and they don't even have a disability. It's like, you don't know, get out of here.
And that was the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody was like, "Did you really say that about the guy in the wheelchair?" And I was like, "Did you hear what the guy in the wheelchair said about me?" Like he started this, and they're like, "But you're picking on the guy in the wheelchair." And that's when I had an epiphany. What'd you say? I was breaking up, probably. Damn it. Is that better?
Yeah, your audio was like.
Yeah, it slowed down a little bit. My damn internet has been acting tricky.
You're trying to get censored.
There we go. God darn it. I had something good to say too. I hate you guys. But it was funny because like that's when I figured out that I'm not picking on him.
Just to kind of highlight the difference there, but just what he was talking about.
There we go. I'm back. Sorry.
Back in the building.
Hey, my internet is acting janky. What I was saying is that when I did that with Jamie, that was the first time I really thought about the fact that if you're not treating people with disabilities the same as the person without disabilities, you're the asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm an asshole to everybody. I make jokes at everybody. I make fun at everybody. So why can I not make fun of you? Because
it's called being an equal opportunity asshole.
Right. Yes. Gas it up, man. Gas it up.
I would say even just asshole. It's really it's part of life and part of even the Black community and comedians is you make jokes. You have fun, right? And like my buddy Andy, he's the guy that rubbed the scar on his head, not you, the other one. But when I do my cigarette burn scar joke, and I say I told that guy in the front row, and he rubbed his scar and laughed and said, "I miss you, Dad." Well, that was actually my coworker, because it was a whole true story, right? And I used to always call him my coworker Quasimodo, because he's got the one lazy fucking eye, and make fun of him, and he'd laugh. And it's like, but if we can't laugh about it, it's just the elephant in the room. Like, he knows he's got a messed up eye. He knows it goes all over the place. Like, let's have a laugh. Are you talking to me this morning? Because you're looking over there, right? Like, you got to be able to have fun with these things, right? And it was funny because my homegirl's daughter, she's the same way. And she be talking, but she's younger and she be talking mess. And the one day she was cooking and I was over there and she was cooking and she's like, "Do you want something?" And I was like, "Oh, you're talking to me, huh?" "Yeah, I'm talking to you. Who else would I be talking to, fool?" And I was, I'm about to burn this 12-year-old. She say something else, right? I'm about to hurt this little girl's feelings. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know if you're talking to the closet or you're talking to the fridge. But look at me when you're talking. At least look at me with one of your eyes. Put an eye on me. You ain't got to put them both on me. I know that's hard, but at least put one of them on me. Tap me, something. I'm deaf. I read.
Oh man.
But this is the
Deaf and the
truth,
blind.
right? Like that you can't fake this, right? And that's real comedy and that's real interaction and that's real life, right? And so if I'm willing to ask Andy, who doesn't look like he's disabled, if he's a virgin or if he'd pay for it, why can't I ask Jamie, who's in a wheelchair, if he's a virgin and if he's paid for it? Because the answer is he has paid for it. He doesn't feel bad about it, and that's the only way he can get it, right? So depending on your disability, that may be your only option. And then
Right.
when we had that conversation, it was a good way to figure out that the intersection isn't about your physical disability, it's about your mental capability. Because if you have the mental capacity of an 8-year-old, you don't even want to have sex.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
We're not saying all of them, but you get what I mean. You're not, and if you're
You
not,
don't have a comprehension of what it is.
bingo, right? And then are you emotionally there enough to have sex,
Right.
even if you do want it? If you're the 12-year-old dude that just wants to talk about boobies, right? Are you really allowed? Are you right? And then are you going to do anything but try to rip her boobs off? Like, there's that worry too, right? So,
Yeah, I know some guys like that watch too much hentai, that manga stuff. Yeah, I'm like, I watch it for research, but yeah, I've seen guys trying to copy that.
yeah, and those are the things of reality. I mean, we got some new topics now. The implementation of fantasy into real life based on your disability, right? How do those with mental disabilities often want to implement what they see on TV? And it's not even those with mental disabilities. It's regular cis men out there who don't have any maturity or any background or done any research, and they think that they should be choking every girl they have sex with, not knowing that not all women like that. Like a lot of women don't. Like,
No, thank you.
and as a big black guy, I'm not choking you. You got to write a waiver. I got to get a picture of you, right? Like I got to get a whole statement.
Go to court, get a contract done,
Yeah.
have a witness, get a stamp of
I got to get this
approval.
notarized. This got to get
Suitman,
notarized.
Wait 5 to 7 business days.
Right? And then you still want to have sex with me and get choked, then we'll talk. And that's my process, right? But Jesus,
And then write another agreement.
right? We've got a grievance. I think he choked her too hard, right? Oh God, there's a
My
whole process
gosh.
to this thing. So we almost hit our hour. We do a little editing, so we're almost there. Also, I want to let everybody know, if you're ever riding through Oregon and you're going somewhere between like Portland and down to Salem, and it's a Friday about 9 o'clock, you can catch us on 98.3 KMWV. All our autistic artists, all our dating with disabilities, I'm editing them without the cuss words. There's some words we get away with. I haven't gotten in trouble yet. I haven't taken out all the words, but we haven't gotten in trouble either.
Yay.
Right. I'm taking out the major words, the ones, the 4-letter words. I know we can't say those, but some of the other language like sex toys, dildos, those are all usable words on the internet and on the radio when you're using them in the proper form, right? And so we do have these educated conversations. There's a way for you to be rolling through the middle of the night and hear a good topic. And I think that's another thing we need to start working on, is expanding this reach, getting this out there. And so my goals for the next couple of years or next months is to really start pushing this, getting this out there. I want us to be getting invited to record somewhere live. I need to get Variety D to give us some of those more UK guests. I need to get Andy to give me some more guests. I need Janejira to get me some more guests. And we need to actively ask people with disabilities, hey, can I get you to talk about your experience? Nothing more than that. We're not looking to make fun of you. We're going to have fun with it. Don't worry. We're going to have a laugh. But we want to be able to educate people on what it's like to date when you got one leg. What's it like having a prosthetic? What is that situation? Do you hide it? Are you open about it? I mean, I know we're talking about it, so everybody knows you have it now. Are you okay? We know we're going to tell everybody, right? So this may be your coming out party as a disabled person also. And it's hard to say that. It's hard to get guests knowing that that's what we're going to do to them. But how do other people know how to interact with you or interact with others if we don't talk about it?
I've got one more potential topic idea, and it's based on what Janejira, what you were saying about guys just wanting to get off, and that's kind of what you thought. I think if you take a female with anxiety and a guy with anxiety, the guy's just trying not to come quickly and is just thinking of his grandma and things like this, while the gal is like, this guy just wants to get his, and so nobody's communicating at all at that point. So that'd be interesting to look at the thought process of two people in a relationship, kind of what they're going through.
And that's I'm that guy. I'm just holding my breath. I had an accident. You don't ever have a quickie. No, I don't. I want to make sure every time I pound this like nobody. I've been just got out of prison. I don't want nobody else sneaking in here. I don't want any you being like, he's lazy on Thursdays. You can come over on Thursdays. Right? Like, no.
Now I'm gonna think, God, they just think I'm trying to get my rocks off. I'm gonna have that in my head too. And then so like,
thanks, Janejira. You just ruined.
thanks.
You just ruined Andy's whole sex life. That
From
was
a
awesome.
one time I'm gonna get laid this year. You just ruined it now.
Oh, no.
Don't lie.
Well, hopefully you get with someone who knows how to communicate.
That is,
Communicate. Oh, you guys are horrible. Puns are coming out. You know it's bad when the puns are coming out. Anyways, we've had another great episode. Give it up for Andy, the new guy. I'm not gonna come too fast. That's a good name for you. I'm not gonna come too fast, Tillinghast. Hey, it rhymes. Give it up for Variety D.
Yes.
Give it up for Bondage Bear and the
Yay!
And last but not least, give it up for me, your neighborhood bully, your big old teddy bear, your emotional wreck.
Suitman.
Next month we have, I can tell you guys now, we do have guests lined up for next month. We're going to have, if I remember correctly, and I'm looking and I'm trying to talk so I can get the page to open, Nathan Golden, artist, musician, writer. The month after that, we're looking at trying to get Emma Blue Glasses Girl from the UK. And then the month after that, we're going to have Mark Buttplug back on here, Mark Nicholas. So we're going to have two UK guests without variety details.
Suitman, me and Mark Buttplug, we're going to be doing the Leicester Comedy Festival, one of the biggest festivals in the UK next month. It's called Split the Bill.
Say it again. You guys are doing what?
We're going to be doing, me and Mark, aka Buttplug, we're going to be, well, his name's Martin Nicholas, but we're going to be doing a show, a double show called Split the Bill at the Leicester Comedy Festival for the first time. And yes, one of the biggest festivals in the UK. So we're looking forward to that comedy fest. And it's like, yeah, we're making money, making people laugh. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be fun. On February 20th.
You're there to do comedy, not sell your woohoo, okay?
No, tell no woo. It's cold. It's a moo.
It's just the way you said it. We're gonna make some money and tell some jokes. It's like, whoa, hold on. Are you hooking these days? I know what that means. Hey, and we could go on forever. I've been Suitman, your host. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys on February 4th. February 5th. Have a great day. Don't work too hard and go Niners. I hate to say that, but I'd rather have them win than my roommate's Phillies. Later, dudes.
Go Sports.
See ya. Bye.
You guys